Could you talk a little bit about the third grade gate?
Ooh. The third grade gate. The tests were designed with a good purpose.
Mhm.
I understand where they was coming from. It was being implemented 3 years ago when I was retiring, and it finally the process took place last year.
Okay,
And should have started in kindergarten,
okay,
not third. It's actually too late. But since we have it, child don't pass the test, and it's a test that is on the internet, comprehension. They have to be able to think outside the box
okay.
in order to go to the next grade level. And that is what's happening within our public school.
Okay.
They will be asked questions, multiple choice questions. They have to be able to choose short answers from a passage of words, long words. The words are no more than 55 in each passage.
Okay.
And for a third grader, that's pretty long.
It is.
Pretty
For
long.
third grade.
Yes, especially when it's on a computer.
Mm.
They're not able, because most third graders, computers are not in the home.
Okay.
They have to set.
First of all, Mr. Mayor, thank you for agreeing to participate. In reviewing the JPS 2014 annual report, several subject test areas are below 65%. How do we explain that?
Well, I don't know how we explain it. I know that we got to take a more serious look at early childhood education, specifically with literacy. Because if you don't, then you put children behind the 8 ball, whether you're talking about math or you're talking about science or reading scores. So you got to give them an opportunity at 3 and 4 year olds to develop those emerging literacy skills. So when children get to Jackson Public Schools, we're not having a conversation about third grade gate. We're not having a conversation about a 5th grade science test, because our children are already reading at or above grade level when they walk into that 5-year-old program at Jackson Public Schools, and they already have what it takes to be successful readers. And kindergarten teachers aren't teaching children how to sound out letters. So I think at the end of the day, we've got to go back to just those basic fundamental things. We got to approach it. We got to do a bookend approach. We got to go from the outside in, because there's so many issues. But right now, we're not doing that. We're talking about graduation rates, but you want to graduate a child who's been retained 2 times, who more than likely is retained because they're 3 or 4 grade levels behind in reading.
Since you mentioned the third grade gate, could you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, third graders are expected to be able to read at or above grade level by the time a standardized test is given sometime in the spring. If they don't pass it after a certain amount of prescribed times, then they're retained in third grade.
Hello, class. Coming up next, we will have Miss Patricia Banks elaborating on the Common Core experience and what it can do for our students in the Jackson Public School Districts in Jackson, Mississippi.
Changes in the K through 12 education in Mississippi, specifically the Common Core curriculum. What influence, if any, has Common Core had on the quality of education in the Mississippi school systems, and what are your expectations?
It gives accountability. Teachers are held accountable for the education of a child. And we get trained from different people from different states that have already tried Common Core.
Mississippi dropout rates ranges from 17% to 35%. Why this rate is so high in Mississippi?
I know, but again, the home got a lot to do with it. When a child is in school, teachers are teaching, a lot of disrespect, a lot of discipline problem, talking back, and a lot to do with this curriculum, the way JPS has it set up.
All right, so would it be the new generation that you
That new
referring to?
generation.
Okay.
If you know, the old school, you know how to deal with it. But this new generation, they're more into what their child is doing than what their child is learning. Teach. Just teach.
K through 12 educational system rate in comparison to Louisiana, Arkansas, and Tennessee?
Good question. The Kirkland Foundation from out of Tennessee,
Mm-hmm.
they are training Mississippi teacher with the Common Core curriculum.
Okay.
So most of their training, but our curriculum person
Mhm.
set the standard.
Okay.
Common Core from out of Tennessee brings in the idea of what they are doing, but the standard is still set by our curriculum person,
Oh,
which make
yeah.
you're hearing two different things in order what you should do in a classroom.
Hmm.
Yes.
Okay, I can imagine that's challenging, trying to follow one and then as well as hearing the other. Do you think that where our system is, do you think that it is a good system in comparison to the other states?
College has a lot to do with equipping a child, getting them ready to go into a classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And this generation need a mentoring person
Mm-hmm.
to be with them, to help them along.
Mm-hmm.
Good ideas, good
Mhm.
teachers,
Mhm.
but they don't know how to deal with the discipline.
I see.
Discipline in Jackson Public School is off the chain.
Was about 42 and the issues around it and why I think it didn't pass. And those are two of the issues, or a couple of issues: lack of leadership and the ambiguity that surrounded the issue itself. There should have never been a vote. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. Watch this. Do you want children in every school to do better? Answer is yes. All right. Guess what we need? In Jackson Public Schools, we need 28, 29, 30-some million dollars that we hadn't gotten as a result of not being fully funded. All right, here you go.
So does it make the state of Mississippi look bad?
I think I saw a meme on Instagram that said, "Welcome to Mississippi. Please turn your clocks back 200 years."
Okay, thank you, Mayor Tony Arbor.
Consider the surrounding states. How do you think that Mississippi's K through 12 educational system rate in comparison to Louisiana, Arkansas, and Tennessee?
Good question. The Kirkland Foundation from out of Tennessee,
Mm-hmm.
they are training Mississippi teacher with the Common Core curriculum.
Okay.
So most of their training, but our curriculum person
Mhm.
set the standard.
Okay.
Common Core from out of Tennessee brings in the idea of what they are doing, but the standard is still set by our curriculum person,
Oh,
which make
yeah.
you're hearing two different things in order what you should do in a classroom.
Hmm.
Yes.
Okay. I can imagine that's challenging.
Far as the dropout rate. Poor parenting. School system don't care.
Responsibility.
And a lot of times, like with my son, when he was a senior, you're a senior, true enough, but at the end of the day, you're still my child. I would go to the school and just to make sure he was at, as a parent, you still have to play your role as a parent, on and off work. So a lot of times I'll be at work and I just ride by there or call up there. Oh, I was just calling to make sure they think, he's at school today. You have to be involved. You can't just get up in the morning and expect for your child to just go to school. Because I'm not going to say what my children do when I'm not around, because cause I know what I did. So, you know, and you just have the school systems, they don't call anymore when children are absent. Teachers don't, you know, I'm not gonna say don't care, but they have other responsibilities, other children. So, and
So
children,
they pretty much in the school system just for a check.
I'm not gonna say that, but I worked in the school system years ago, so
Okay.
I know, you know, and dealing with children that want to be grown, and then you really have teachers that starting out so young, just about the same age as some of these children that's still in school, that need to be out of school, you know. So, and then children just don't care anymore. They don't have the
Respect.
they don't appreciate it and just don't know just the hardship of being out here as an adult and the importance of school and education.
Okay,
Just don't
thank
care.
you. Thank you for that. I enjoyed that. Moving on to question 5. What is the Department of Education doing to increase the graduation rates in Mississippi?
Well, from what I see, they took out the state testing. I think that's gonna help out a lot. Far as, I mean, I really don't just have any input on that. But I've noticed that, cause with the graduation rate, you know, the last couple of years, I mean, your child can pass all his subjects, all his or her subjects, but when it comes to the state test, if you don't pass your test, you don't graduate. And I just feel as if some kids do better in other areas than testing.
That's true.
You know, so I just feel like with the state testing, it helped out a lot, but with the common, you know, the core curriculum, the common core curriculum that's going on now, I mean, we'll see.
Can you elaborate on the Common Core? Like, I know she probably asked this question, but how is your daughter doing now to, you know, from elementary to now? Like, how is her?
Barely making it,
Barely maybe?
barely making it.
Would you say it would be a lack of patience with the teachers, or
I mean,
moving too fast? Or?
that, and then she has a lot of responsibility too, because like I tell her, you have to study. First of all, you have to take your notes. You have to study. You have to do your homework, because like I tell her, your homework counts just as much as your test grades. Because you can pass all your tests, but if you're not doing your work, that's gonna bring your average down. Just the, and then trying to teach 30 students in one class, I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Okay, moving on. Thank you for that. Do you believe the high dropout rates in Mississippi affect the general society as a whole? For instance, high crime, teenage pregnancy, and incarnation rates?
Dropouts.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Because look at, I mean, what's doing the crime now? Young people. Because, I mean, it's just, and then the young girls, they're, I don't know, it's just,
Ridiculous.
yes, it is. I mean, I'm just about scared now, you know, and you can't smother your children, you know, but it's just too much time on their hands.
Okay, let me ask you this question. It's not,
Mhm.
but do you think that parents are giving a crutch to their children by putting them on birth control, or by providing protection for them in order for them to go and do whatever they want to do?
Well, I hate to bring the Bible in, but biblically, yes. But I was once a teenager. I know what I did.
Okay.
And financially, I have two, well, an 18-year-old and a 19-year-old and a 13-year-old. I mean, and I can't financially take care of any babies. So as a parent, no, because you can't be with your child 24 hours of the day. And I'm not gonna say, again, what my child is doing when I'm at work and they're out there. And I just feel like, once again, to take today's society, no. They need it. That's the problem. I just feel as if it's not enough sexual education being taught to these kids. And the consequences and repercussions that comes with having sex. And I preach to mine, true enough, and I tell them, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and I can tell you not to have sex, but at the end of the day, you're gonna do what you wanna do. But protect yourself. So, no.
Yeah, yes, I enjoyed that. Thank you. Thank you. Moving on, we all know Edition 42 didn't pass. So tell me what you think about it. Can you expound on the
I was one of the lucky ones.
okay.
Our church, the week before voting, election rather, our pastor showed us a film, educated us on what to answer, how to answer the ballot. Whereas I just feel like it wasn't enough education in regards to answering the question. Because if you just didn't read all the fine print, you answer the one question, but then again, you have to go down and answer the second question. And by not answering both of the questions, it wasn't just, a lot of people wasn't aware of it. And I tried to spread the news and, you know, let people know, and a lot of people, you know, didn't know, and they thanked me for it. But again, the education went out there.
So what do you think about so what do you think about all of this positive stuff going on around the networks, TV stations and everything? And then I say within the last 2 days you get like a negative type of commercial saying that we don't need it don't need to go. So could you elaborate on how you feel that affected the ballot?
And then that did, and then also a lot of people don't vote
At all.
you know. So the ones that the votes that the people that didn't vote, if they would have gotten out and voted, that would have helped out. Then too, you're right. You like, well, okay, well, what if or what, you know, should I or should I not? You know, so a lot of people was like, well, you know what, I'm not even gonna worry about it at all. So
Yeah, so okay, wrapping things up, we would like to thank you for coming out. And it's a wrap. Thank you.
Your hair looks very pretty.
thank you.
Do you want us to
Yeah,
take a
yeah,
picture, or do you
yeah.
want to send me one?
Um,
Either way you have.
It don't matter.
However you want to do it.
I guess